welcome Roy Fuoco from the Ledger, who we were talking, just chatting sports photography and how none of us will ever match up to Pierre.
Yeah.
So
yeah, when I was working the copy desk, I would always get something for him and saying, it's like, how do you get that? You know?
Yeah, just an amazing photographer.
Yeah.
So, spring sports. What ones are you keeping an eye on right now?
Well, it's kind of heating up. Like this past week, we had county tennis. Had an upset at number 1 when Everett Whitehead from Winter Haven won the boys' number 1 singles final. In the number 1 girls final with McKenna Batilla. That was it went 7-5, 6-2, but she came back from like a 5-2 deficit, and it was a long, hard-fought match. So that was exciting to watch. Softball teams, Bartow and Lake Wales are the top 2 teams. They're out in Kissimmee this weekend at Kissimmee Classic, which is always a really nice tournament. Next week is the baseball county tournament. Winter Haven is probably one of the favorites, but Lakeland Christian. Probably those two might be the top 2 teams. And then tomorrow's county track meet out at George Jenkins. So, and the sprinters, especially the 100 and the 200 for the boys and girls, should be exciting to watch. DJ Dobie's been, in county record territory, this year. Even though there's so many different ways of timed it over the years. It's like, what is the county record? Because you have hand time, like electronic time, wind legal, and all that. And I've got the different times for each one. And and then Desiree Murray, who was from Winter Haven, she was state runner-up last year. She's I think she's like ranked 5th in 4A, if I remember the last time I looked, even though she's running faster than last year. So you don't have Chelsea Williams anymore. Her domination. She's at Georgia doing very well, but there's still some athletes to watch like at the state level. And then Olivia Salazar from Winter Haven, she's been doing really well. She's state runner-up in weightlifting to the Haines City girl, Davinia Smith, who won, and but she has a chance to win state title in the shot put again. Oh, wow. I think she's ranked number 1 right now. So there's a lot of good athletes out there playing right now.
Wow, Roy, just Polk County has a lot of times been known for softball as well.
Yeah.
Just kind of talk about softball, who's been on fire this year, who's really been doing well, both from a team standpoint and an individual standpoint.
Yeah, from Bartow and Lake Wales are the top 2 teams. Bartow is ranked number 1 in their region, heavy favorite to go back to state, although they'll probably have to get through Melbourne. Riley Dalton has taken a huge stride from being just a very good pitcher to like an elite pitcher. I think she's still only given up 1 run all year. And so if she keeps pitching like this, they're ranked 4th in the state. They have a really good chance of winning it all. Lake Wales is ranked 2nd in their region to O'Galley, and O'Galley's only loss is to Melbourne. But there's a big drop-off in their region because Lake Region and Vanguard used to be usually pretty good, and that 3 and 4, but there's a huge drop-off after those 2 teams. So they're doing real good at the higher levels. McKeel is ranked 2nd in their region, so they're kind of in good shape to compete to go to the Final Four. And then Lakeland Christian is number 2 in their region. They have a great lineup. It's hard for them to kind of get. They either dominate their competition or they're going to be overmatched, with the pitching. So they're kind of. It's hard to get a good read of them, but I think. They've had a young core that's still young. Their core is still probably freshmen, and so they got to still have a bright future. But this might be the year they take a good step.
So to stay on the softball vein a little bit, Mike Settle moves from Lake Wales now to Florida Poly. What do you think about it?
Well, it's phone's ringing. It's it'd be a good challenge for him. It's obviously Lake Wales loses a really good coach. I mean,
only the 2nd or 3rd coach in the history of the program.
Really,
right?
The second coach. I mean, when Nancy Denton started the program, the next year they had someone else coach. They thought it'd be good because he had more experience, and that didn't really work out. This was back in like the late '80s, and then she came back, and it's been her, and then Mike Settle, and so the stability has been great. So, but it's a good opportunity. I mean, he's excited about it, and he's obviously going to try to keep some of the good talent here. I mean, because of Florida Poli-Sci being a STEM, you kind of wonder they have a broad enough curriculum, for the talent. But he's excited about it, and also it'll be fun to watch him what he does.
And I'm going to ask you to pontificate yet again. What do you think about the new track stadium that is in talks?
Well, it's always good to have a nice, good facility out here. They were talking about doing something like that in the late 2000s. When they were building Tenorock, and I think Tenorock and another high school was supposed to share it, and then that sort of fell through. So, but yeah, I mean, it's Polk has done a great job at attracting events to Polk County. So, another good facility would be great for that. The one thing I've been meaning to ask officials about was the facilities. It said something about for soccer too, and it's like, well, you're going to have soccer competing against the soccer complex. I didn't quite understand that. But
well, it goes back to we get such so it's always an arms war in bringing in sports events.
Yeah.
And so the more fields that you've got in a county that are high quality, the better.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the outlook is if you want to get up to that next notch. Hillsborough County just opened that new facility up there, not too far from my house. And then you go, so you have that, and then we have to get more, so it builds on itself.
And it's always good to have quality track facilities, because for a while there, the only rubberized track in the high schools was then Frostproof, which was really, it wasn't really a stadium venue to watch, because where the football team plays, they don't have the track there, and now you have it at Jenkins, Lake Region, Winter Haven, Santa Fe.
Yeah. They built something at Tenorock.
Yeah, that's where the city was. 5, and I think I'm not too sure if I think Davenport has it. Yeah, so that's great for Polk County.
Roy, kind of putting a little bit of a bow going back on basketball season. The Winter Haven girls had a great run, had a great season to the state championship game. Fell a little bit short. With the loss of Serenity Hardy to an Achilles injury, USF commit. Talk about, just kind of look back at their run and their season. Another great season for Winter Haven girls hoops.
Yeah, I mean the and her name I keep sleeping from my mind. The girl who stepped up her scoring when she went down that next week. I was putting together the Tremendous 10, and it was like I saw Serenity had this 3 points. It was before we knew that she got hurt, and it was like they blew out the team. So I was like, okay, they have maybe they just rested her or something. Because the other girl had like 30-something points, and then obviously she was out, but they kept it going, and Quinn Sanders picked up her game, and so they had the two of them, as far as being big scorers, and they just kind of kept it rolling. And, it's a shame because with Serenity they might have won again, and she won the Dairy Farmers 7A Player of the Year award. The final voting for the overall Miss Florida is still in the process. I think the deadline, in fact I might do that when I leave here, vote. I think the deadline to vote is either today or Monday. So she's still getting the recognition, but that was that's a sad way to go out. It's lousy when you get hurt, but definitely you see at the end of your senior year. I mean that's always rough.
And on top of it all, on the eve of Silver Garland's judging, so she was a Silver Garland's candidate, and instead they were rushing her into surgery, so we all felt bad, and couldn't be there. So,
but just another unbelievable player coming out of Polk County, from obviously across all sports, but girls basketball out of Winter Haven. It's just unbelievable the amount of talent that has come out of that high school, that has gone to UConn and many other major women's basketball programs across the country.
Yeah, it started when LaDon Gibson took over the program in the late '90s from Billy Hardy. In fact, the year Billy Hardy last year, they got to the region semis, and if it wasn't for a lousy foul that was questionable, they might have gone to state that year too. And then they had a down year that first year, her only, I think, losing record, and then she kind of got it rolling at one level, and then Johnny came in as an assistant, and he brought in a training program that LaDonna already pushed her players real hard in training, and he brought in something a next level that he worked out with Tracy McGrady, who's his cousin, and so that got them even more rolling. And then when LaDon went off to FAMU, he took over and kept it rolling. So they play and practice at an elite level, and that attracts the athletes to go there too, because they're gonna you have the athleticism and then they bring it out. They bring all that talent out.
So like I've said before, we should definitely have a show that we just have Roy and Robert on and just go for an hour and talk nothing but local sports. Folks, to get all of your local sports updates on Polk County sports, high school especially, go to the Ledger, take a look at Roy's work. Roy, thank you for being with us.
Thanks.